This is the World Organic News podcast for the week ending 23rd of May 2016. John Moore reporting. This week, food. I posted a piece on the relatively new food star system we have here in Australia. The link is, of course, in the show notes. Similar systems exist in other jurisdictions, the main point of the post being, how can a preservative-laden, ultra-high temperature treated product get 4.5 stars out of 5, and organic coconut oil only receive 1 star? It's simple. The star system was set up by the food industry and is a self-regulated system. Each nation's food system is a reflection of the society it feeds. Let's look at this a little more deeply. The food star system is industry self-regulated. So can we implicitly trust the industry that has had a sizable effect in the creation of the obesity epidemic to now market its products in a manner which will defeat that epidemic? I think not. True enough, these corporations didn't hold people to the ground and physically force them into unhealthy food. Instead, they plastered the products with nutritional information and backed them up with advertising campaigns. You know the sort of thing, sugar-filled corn-based breakfast cereals containing iron. The iron is emphasised, not the sugar nor the corn. When questioned on individual product lines, the PR people always come back with the line, as part of a healthy diet. Basically, the system works this way. They put whatever they want into whatever they want to sell. They develop products to trigger the pleasure centres of the brain, so individuals are drawn to continue consumption of those items. This desire is reinforced by advertising, package design and branding. When questioned on the ethics or even the science, they drop back into the part of a healthy eating pattern/diet mantra, which blames the consumer. To ensure these products are within the food pyramid, individuals from the agribusiness and food manufacturing industries regularly rotate through the FDA, US Ag Department and the EPA. No one seems to see, or at least react, to the possible conflicts of interest, having, say, a Monsanto executive move over to the FDA before returning to Monsanto. Let me put this bluntly. The regulators are being staffed by individuals from the regulated industries. Stepping back further and taking a wider perspective reveals this is the template pattern across most of the English-speaking world. And no one raises a question, let alone raises hell. While this is going on, amalgamations and takeovers point towards access to food across the globe being controlled by a triopoly of conglomerates. The blog Ideard discusses this horror in the post this week, and again, no one is on the streets. There's a link in the show notes. We should have been alerted to the possibilities of this when universities started running ethics classes for business majors. If there's a need to teach right from wrong to university students, the game is already over. If explaining why stealing pension funds is unethical, or even requires elucidation, we as a society are way past in trouble. So here's how I see the current situation. The health of multinational corporations is more important than the health of the polis. The polis is now being predated upon by those corporations for their own rewards. Think bank bailouts. The only aim of multinational corporations is profitability. If a nation-state decides to regulate an industry, it goes through a 3-step process. The industry argues nothing is wrong. 2. The industry agrees to self-regulation. 3. The industry mounts a huge advertising campaign to destroy a government at the polls after legal regulation is introduced. Or, in some societies, buys off sufficient members of the government to ensure the regulation is reversed or never enacted. Now look around your society. See if this holds any truth. I suggest it does. So what can we do? This seems so obvious, it's almost unnecessary to say. But grow our own food. From a plant pot of basil on the windowsill to converting all our lawn into raised beds is a great place to start. Critically interrogate every message we receive from a corporation, a government or a PR source. Organise not around single issues, but around reforming the whole system. We can and have been picked off and distracted by impressive single-issue wins. The forces of inertia driving the food industries are impressive. reinforced by government, directed by an interpretation of the science of nutritionism, and sold by advertising billions, we are not able to dismantle this leviathan with single-issue wins. Getting GMO food labelled in the US will not lead to the wholesale collapse of the multinational food system. It will adapt, it will continue to roll on. This is why we must grow as much of our own food as we can. And now a word from our sponsor. This episode of the World Organic News podcast is brought to you by Gem Biscuits. Gem Biscuits is a small family-run enterprise who hand-make gluten-free, sorghum flour-based biscuits and cookies. Choc chip, hazelnut choc chip, coffee hazelnut choc chip, and the original spicy tea. All these are made with, of course, organic ingredients. And these biscuits are great. Please check out the website, gembiscuits.com. That's gembiscuits.com. A link is in the show notes. This week's walk through the complete book of self-sufficiency by John Seymour will again be postponed. I'm looking to release the rest of our walk through this book as a supplemental episode sometime this week. Any suggestions, feedback or criticisms of a podcast or blog are most welcome. Email me at podcast@worldorganicnews.com. A transcript of each episode is available on the blog at www.worldorganicnews.com under the tab Podcasts. Thanks for listening, and I'll be back in a week.